The difference between going from a photograph like this to this other one is this that I have here. My name is Luis Miguel Azorín, and I welcome you to another week at Natural Portraits, the channel dedicated to nature and natural photography in the broadest sense you can imagine. This is a diffuser, and inside there is a regular external flash, but the combination of these two elements along with a macro photographic lens is the ultimate solution to take your macro photographs from good to wow. If you are a regular follower of the channel, you will know that I have always been an advocate of practicing macro photography in the lightest way possible. Our camera, a macro lens, and that's it. Doing away with a tripod and anything else. Just paying attention to our surroundings, observing nature, and trying to photograph it in its purest essence. But this approach has some limitations. As you may know, in macro photography we struggle with depth of field. The closer we get to the photographed element, that is, the higher the magnification used, the shallower the depth of field. Depth of field is the focus part of the photograph, and this reaches its minimum in disciplines like extreme macro photography, where it is very common to apply magnifications 5 times, 7 times, or higher. Magnifications in which the depth of field we have in the image is just a few hundredths or thousandths of a millimeter. This forces us in these disciplines to apply high precision stacking techniques, which, on the other hand, also offers us spectacular results of micromundos that are completely invisible to the human eye. Conventional macro photography is different, but more and more brands are launching macro lenses capable of achieving magnifications of 2 times, 4 times, or 5 times. If we add to this, that, as I have told you, at higher magnifications, the depth of field becomes increasingly reduced. This will force us to always work with fairly closed apertures. Closed apertures in macro photography mean little light. Very little light. And the only thing we can do to compensate for this lack of light in the image is to increase the ISO sensitivity and, therefore, also increase the noise level in the photograph. But all of this is solved with a flash. What characteristics should a good diffuser have for the flash? Any external flash of this type is valid. This one I have here is a very basic flash that I have had for a few years and that has accompanied me on many of my photographic adventures. And what characteristics should the diffuser have? There is a lot to say here. On one hand, we can find very simple and basic diffusers that really work within their limitations. We can also make it ourselves. But this is where a good diffuser can make a difference. Like this diffuser I have here from the brand AK Diffusers. And why does it make a difference? Well, first of all, this is not a generic diffuser. It is a handmade diffuser designed with the camera model and the macro lens model that will be used in mind. In this case, a camera from Sony's A series, a TT Artisan 100mm f macro lens. In other words, this diffuser model can be used with any Sony A series camera and any macro lens that is roughly the same dimensions as this TT Artisan 100mm. And for this reason, the assembly of this diffuser with the equipment is absolutely perfect. And as you can see, once placed, it can move around. And really, despite the volume of all the equipment, its handling is really very comfortable. But beyond all this, what truly makes a difference for me with this diffuser is this: the ability to turn on an internal continuous light. This light does not really serve to illuminate anything in our scene, but simply to provide us with light to better compose our photographs. As I mentioned a moment ago, in macro photography at high magnifications, we will be forced to work with very closed apertures. When we work with electronic lenses, it is normal for the aperture to remain fully open until the moment we take the photo, at which point it will close to the f value we have chosen. But when we work with manual macro lenses, and believe me, this is more common than you think, we will be forced to work with the aperture close to the f value at which we want to take the photograph. That is why, in these cases, having this internal light to illuminate the composition is really very helpful. And of course, we cannot overlook something that I am particularly excited about and have wanted to practice for a long time, which is doing macro photography at night, since night is the time when many animals change their behavior, either because they reduce their activity to rest, which will make it easier for us to compose images and photograph them, or conversely, when they increased their activity at night, allowing us to see them in a situation where we normally could not see them. The different combinations of this AK diffuser, along with the included reflector panel, will allow us to capture macro photographs like these. The truth is that I was very eager to bring macro discipline back to the channel. Many of you had been asking me for a long time, and I hadn't done it before because I wanted to get a proper macro setup that would allow me to cover everything I want to do in this 2009 discipline. I already have all the content I have in mind, and I hope to start bringing very strong macro content soon. And with this, I say goodbye until next week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week with more photography and nature, here on Natural Portrait. Goodbye.